It's episode 11 of the Waxercast with me, Rob John Webb, and I've finally got past the 10 episode mark. So, today what I'm going to discuss is when to know to quit. So, that can be a variety of things. This is just going to be a short podcast, by the way. I'm not going to waffle on forever. But knowing when to quit a certain thing, whether that's good or bad. So, this week, I've been mixing down a trance record. I've gone back into making some hard dance music. I just need a fresh break and I need a different palette of sound to work with. So I've decided to go and do some trance. And I've done the record. The track's done. That's the easy part. And it's now the mixing process. And then the referencing with other tracks, obviously, because I've not produced trance for so long. I've had to get some modern stuff and purchase some modern stuff and reference it and get the pointers and just get refreshed and kind of back into it and understand it again. Anyway, so I've been mixing it and I've done like 6 or 7 versions of a mix, which is absolutely painful, as you guys will understand. No matter what you do when you're mixing down, it's the most grueling task of making a record. And I've tried various different plugins, various different things, and today I've decided, after the 7th version, I'm going to stop it just for a few days. I'm not even going to touch it. I know that my ears are getting drained and I'm getting ear fatigue, and I know that I need to stop. So that's what this is about, really. It's about knowing your limits and knowing when to stop, just because I know that the track is good enough. I know that it's fine. I know that it's okay, but I want it to be better than okay. I'm not being a perfectionist, because that's one thing I'm not. But I want it to be the best that I can give it. And I know that if I leave it a few days, go away and watch someone else's tutorials on, trance producers and see what they get up to. And then I can take bits from that and maybe implement them into what I do. Because what I do in a mixdown is very simple. And I've been doing a few things this week that I've never normally done. So it's always good to learn and refresh what you do. So I'm going to use this time between now and when I touch it again, probably Friday. It's a Wednesday today, and learn some new skills in that genre to add to my palette. The reason why I've gone back to trance, as I say, I just need a whole different spectrum of sound. There's this urge within me to make harder dance music again, like I used to back in the late 90s, early 2000s. I just have this urge to do it again. Just because 120 BPM is just sometimes a little bit too slow for me, so I'm back in the 135, 140 zone, and it's really cool. It's really refreshing, and it was either that or drum and bass, and I never really made drum and bass anyway. I dabbled with it a few times and made a few tracks, but nothing never came out. So I've just decided to revive myself in that area, in the trance area. So when do you know that you want to quit? When you want to quit something. And what I've done is I've quit this thing for a good reason. It's because I know that my ears are tired and I've heard the track that many times this week. I know that I need to put the brakes on it and stop and come back to it with fresh mind. So that's a good thing. That's a positive. But also you have to also know when something isn't working, and you need to stop it for a good reason, but for B, you're going to have to abandon that project. When do you guys, abandon projects? When do you know that the time is up on that certain project? I've got, like all of you guys must have, countless tracks in my Ableton folders, in my files of stuff I've half finished, stuff I've finished, stuff I've just done sketches of, a variety of different tracks at different stages. Some are just beats, some are just chords on a piano, just to get an idea down. But how many of those projects go unfinished, or they will never see a final product, and yet I hang on to them? It's like I should just go through them and go, right, I'm never going to finish that, I'm going to abandon that. But you don't. And sometimes that's a good thing, because you know that sometimes you'll go through a phase of liking a certain genre, you'll try it and you'll abandon it, and then a year later you'll come back to it and go, oh, I want to listen to that again now, and it kind of gives you a fresh revitalization sometimes. But knowing when to stop a project is a very important thing. Knowing when to stop doing a session. For example, if you're in the middle of a track, you've been at it 2 or 3 hours, it's not getting anywhere, you can't get past the 16-bar loop, or you can't get beyond the intro, or you're stuck at the first drop, breakdown, etc. When do you stop? You have to know your own limitations. And I think the important thing I can give today is to say, don't quit on it. If the track means something to you, or the project is really important, just put the brakes on it. Don't quit it. Don't quit it completely. Just draw the brakes on it and give yourself a specific time date to come back to. Don't just leave it in the doldrums and then let it disappear into your hard drive and get buried amongst all the other stuff you've neglected over the last few years or whatever. I've got files on my PC going back to 2009, 2010, when I first started using Ableton. So, there's a whole, that's a whole different story. But what you need to do is just put the brakes on it and just say, right, I'll come back to this in 2 days. Put a reminder in your phone and decide that you're going to come back to it. And even if you just spend 20 minutes, half an hour looking at it, and if you know. But at the same time, you know sometimes that something's good and it's worth pursuing. So that's really all I wanted to say, really, is, know when it's time to stop, but whether that be for a good reason or a bad reason. When I say a bad reason, what I mean is it's time for you to, abandon it completely. But if it's for a good reason, stop, put the brakes on, give it some time, walk away, go and do something different, go down the pub with your mates, or go out and do whatever, go back to work, whatever it is you do. But don't quit on it if you feel that it is a good one. So, but don't just leave it to chance. Set a time zone on it and go, right, I'll come back to you on Thursday next week, and put a reminder in your phone and spend half an hour giving it some more energy. So that's it really for this short podcast, the Waxercast. Know your limits, know when to stop, and know that when you stop, you're going to return to it. And that's all. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll speak to you in the next episode.